Hey everyone, before we jump into today's video, let me ask you something. When was the last time you walked into a store and noticed how expensive everything has become? Rice, oil, sugar, prices are going up almost every week, aren't they? Now, I'm not here to scare you or create panic, but what I am here to do is share something really important with you today. If you're smart about it, you can protect yourself and your family from these rising prices and potential shortages. Today, I'm going to walk you through 12 essential food items that you should absolutely consider stockpiling right now. And no, this isn't about hoarding or being selfish. This is about being prepared, being smart, and making sure that when times get tough, you're not scrambling or paying double the price for basic necessities. Now, you might be wondering, why should I stockpile? Let me tell you, around the world, we're seeing supply chain disruptions. Weather patterns are changing, affecting crop yields. Economic uncertainty is everywhere. Inflation is hitting everyone's pocket. And the reality is, food prices rarely go down once they go up. But here's the thing, smart preparation is not about filling your entire house with food until there's no space left. It's about carefully selecting items that have long shelf lives, that you actually use regularly, and that give you peace of mind knowing you're covered for months ahead. In this video, I'll tell you exactly what to buy, how long these items last, how to store them properly, and even give you some budget-friendly tips so you don't have to break the bank to do this. And listen, item number 12 on this list, absolutely critical. You cannot skip it. So make sure you watch all the way to the end because that one piece of information could make all the difference. Before we begin, if you find this video helpful, please hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed yet, subscribe now because I regularly share practical tips like these that can actually help you in your daily life. All right, let's get started. Let's start with the absolute foundation of most of our meals, rice. Whether you're Pakistani, Indian, Bangladeshi, or from anywhere else in this region, rice is probably on your table almost every single day. Here's why you need to stock up on rice right now. First of all, rice prices fluctuate constantly, depending on the season, the harvest, and global demand. When there's a shortage, prices can literally double overnight. I've seen it happen, and you probably have too. Now here's the beautiful thing about rice. If stored properly, white rice can last anywhere from 4 to 5 years. Yes, you heard that right, 4 to 5 years. Brown rice doesn't last as long, usually about 6 months, but if you use oxygen absorbers or keep it in the freezer, you can extend that quite a bit. How much should you stock? Well, think about how much rice your family consumes in a month. Multiply that by at least 6 months. That's your starting point. If you have storage space, go for a year's supply. The key to storing rice properly is keeping it in airtight containers. Don't just leave it in the original packaging. Transfer it to proper containers, preferably food-grade plastic containers or large glass jars. Keep them in a cool, dry place away from direct sunlight. Here's a pro tip. Buy in bulk from wholesale markets. You'll save significantly compared to buying small bags from regular stores. Different varieties like basmati, sela, or regular white rice stock what your family prefers. And remember, rice isn't just rice, it's security. It's knowing that no matter what happens with the economy or food supplies, your family will have a basic staple food to rely on. Moving on to item number 2, lentils and pulses, or what we commonly call dal. Now, if rice is the foundation, lentils are the protein powerhouse that completes your meal. Masoor, moong, chana, mash, tur dal, these are not just food items, they're nutritional gold. They're packed with protein, fiber, vitamins, and minerals. For those of you who don't eat meat regularly or are vegetarian, lentils are absolutely essential. Here's what makes lentils perfect for stockpiling. They can easily last 2 to 3 years when stored properly, and they're incredibly affordable compared to meat, which makes them the most budget-friendly protein source you can find. Think about this. A kilogram of lentils costs you a fraction of what a kilogram of chicken or beef costs, but it provides substantial protein to your family. During economic hardships, this matters tremendously. Storage is simple. Keep them in airtight containers or mason jars. Make sure the area is dry because moisture is the enemy of lentils. If moisture gets in, you'll see mold or insects, and that ruins your entire stock. Here's what I recommend. Don't just stock one type of lentil. Get variety. Get red lentils, yellow lentils, split chickpeas, black lentils. Why? Because eating the same thing every day gets boring. Variety keeps your meals interesting and ensures you're getting different nutritional benefits. One more thing. Lentils are incredibly versatile. You can make dal, you can make soups, you can even grind them into flour for certain recipes. They're quick to cook, they fill you up, and they're healthy. What more could you ask for in a stockpile item? So when you're planning your stockpile, make sure lentils are high on your priority list. Your body and your wallet will thank you. Item number 3, cooking oil. Now this is interesting because oil prices are among the most volatile in the market. You've probably noticed this yourself. 1 month a bottle costs one price, next month it's significantly higher. This happens because cooking oil prices are affected by international markets, currency fluctuations, and global demand. And unfortunately, oil is something you absolutely cannot cook without. Let's talk about shelf life. An unopened bottle of cooking oil can last 1 to 2 years depending on the type. Once opened, you're looking at 6 months to 1 year before it starts degrading. Ghee, on the other hand, tends to last even longer, especially if properly refrigerated. Now, here's what you need to know about storing oil. Keep it in a cool, dark place. Heat and light break down oil faster, making it rancid. Nobody wants to use rancid oil. It tastes terrible and it's not good for your health. Don't go crazy and buy 50 bottles of oil because you also need to be practical about storage space and usage. Calculate how much oil your family uses in a month and stock enough for 6 months to a year maximum. My suggestion, don't put all your eggs in one basket, or in this case, all your money in one type of oil. Get some vegetable oil for regular cooking, some olive oil for healthier preparations, and maybe some ghee for special dishes and its longer shelf life. Here's a money-saving tip. Buy oil when it's on sale. Stores often have promotions, and that's when you should stock up. The difference in price during sales versus regular pricing can be significant. Also consider buying larger containers. Usually a 5-liter bottle is more economical per liter than buying 5 1-liter bottles. Do the math and you'll see the savings. Oil is one of those things where you don't realize its importance until suddenly you run out or can't afford it. Don't let that happen to you. Next up, item number 4, flour or atta. If you're making roti, naan, bread, or any baked goods, flour is non-negotiable. Now, flour is interesting because it doesn't last as long as rice or lentils, but it's still worth stockpiling in reasonable amounts. White flour can last about 6 to 8 months in your pantry. Whole wheat flour, which is healthier but has more oils in it, lasts around 3 to 6 months. If you put it in the freezer, you can extend that significantly. Now, here's the problem with flour: bugs. If you've ever opened a bag of flour and seen little insects in there, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This happens when flour is stored improperly or for too long. The solution? First, always store flour in airtight containers. Don't leave it in the original paper or cloth bag. Second, put a few bay leaves in your flour container. Bay leaves naturally repel insects. Third, if you have space in your freezer, that's the absolute best place to store flour long term. Now, don't just think about regular wheat flour. Diversify your flour stock. Get some all-purpose flour or maida for certain recipes. Get some semolina or suji for breakfast dishes. Get some chickpea flour or besan for pakoras in certain traditional dishes. Here's something important. Practice rotation. This means using the oldest flour first and replacing it with fresh stock. Mark your containers with the date you purchased them. This way you're always using flour within its optimal freshness period. Flour might seem basic, but when you think about how many meals depend on it, you realize how essential it is. From your daily roti to weekend baking projects to breakfast items, it's everywhere in your kitchen. And during times of shortage, flour is often one of the first things to disappear from store shelves or become prohibitively expensive. I've seen this happen during various crises. Having a good stock of flour means you can continue making your family's basic meals without worry. So calculate your monthly usage, stock up intelligently, store it properly, and you'll be glad you did. Item number 5, sugar. Now this might seem obvious, but let me tell you why sugar deserves a spot on this list. Sugar, when stored properly, has an indefinite shelf life. It literally does not go bad.
The only enemy of sugar is moisture. If moisture gets into your sugar, it'll clump up or potentially develop mold. But if you keep it dry, it'll last forever. Both white sugar and brown sugar are worth stocking.
White sugar is your everyday sweetener, while brown sugar is great for certain recipes and has a slightly different flavor profile. Storage is straightforward, airtight containers in a dry place. That's it. No special temperature requirements, no freezer needed. Just keep it dry and you're good. Now here's the thing about sugar. Beyond just sweetening your tea or coffee, sugar is a preservative. If you're into making jams, preserves or pickles, sugar is essential. It's also crucial for baking, for certain traditional sweets, and for balancing flavors in cooking. Don't forget about alternative sweeteners too. Honey, which I'll talk about separately, is excellent. Jaggery or gur is another traditional sweetener that many people prefer for its nutritional benefits and unique taste. Budget tip: sugar is heavy, and buying in bulk can save you a lot of money. A large bag from a wholesale store will cost you significantly less per kilogram than small packets from a regular shop. Stock up enough sugar to last your family at least 6 months to a year. Calculate based on your tea consumption, your cooking needs, and any baking you do. It's affordable, it lasts forever when stored right, and it's something you definitely don't want to run out of. Item number 6 is salt, and this one's quick but crucial. Salt never expires, ever. This is one item where you literally never have to worry about it going bad. The only thing you need to worry about is keeping it dry so it doesn't clump up. But even clumped salt is still perfectly good, it just needs to be broken up. Now why stock up on salt if it's always available? Because it's essential for life. Your body needs salt. Every single dish you cook needs salt. And it's also used for preserving food. People have been using salt to preserve meat and vegetables for thousands of years. I recommend getting iodized salt because it contains iodine, which is important for your thyroid health and overall well-being. But also consider getting some rock salt or sendha namak, which many people prefer for its purity and mineral content. Storage is simple, moisture-proof containers. That's all you need. Now here's what's great about salt. It's incredibly affordable. For very little money, you can stock up on enough salt to last your family for years. There's really no reason not to have a good supply of salt in your home. Beyond cooking, salt has dozens of uses. You can use it for cleaning, for oral hygiene, for certain home remedies. It's truly one of the most versatile substances you can stockpile. So grab a few kilograms of good quality salt, store it properly, and forget about it. It'll be there whenever you need it, for as long as you need it. Simple, essential, and foolproof. Item number 7, canned foods. Now this is where we get into some really practical emergency preparedness. Canned foods are incredible. We're talking about canned vegetables, canned beans, canned tomatoes, canned fruits, even canned fish or meat if you prefer. These items typically have a shelf life of 2 to 5 years, and some can last even longer. The beauty of canned food is that it's ready to use. During an emergency, if there's a power outage, or if you're unable to go shopping, or if fresh produce becomes unavailable, canned foods are a lifesaver. You can open a can and have a meal ready in minutes. Another important point, many people think canned food is less nutritious than fresh food, but that's not entirely true. The canning process actually preserves most of the nutritional value. Yes, fresh is ideal, but canned is a perfectly good alternative, especially when fresh isn't available or affordable. What should you stock? Start with versatile items. Canned tomatoes are fantastic because they are the base for so many dishes. Canned beans, chickpeas, kidney beans, black beans are excellent protein sources and very convenient. Canned vegetables like corn, peas, and carrots can round out meals easily. Storage is simple. Keep them in a cool, dry place. The cans are already designed for long-term storage, so you don't need any special containers. Just make sure the cans aren't dented or damaged, as that can compromise the seal and spoil the contents. Here's an important habit to develop: rotation. Check the expiration dates on your canned goods and use the oldest ones first. This way, nothing sits unused for too long and goes to waste. When buying canned foods, look for sales. Stores often discount items that are getting closer to their expiration date, but if you're going to use them within the next year or two, that's perfectly fine and you save money. One thing to remember, canned foods are heavy and take up space, so be realistic about how much you can store and how much your family will actually use. Start with a 3-month supply and build from there if you have the space. Canned foods give you flexibility, convenience, and peace of mind.
They're an essential part of any well-thought-out food stockpile. Item number 8, pasta and macaroni. This might seem like a Western food item, but it's become quite common in our households now, especially for quick meals and for kids. Dry pasta has an excellent shelf life, 2 to 3 years easily. It's non-perishable, it's lightweight, it stores compactly, and it cooks quickly. These are all massive advantages. Kids usually love pasta. If you have children, having pasta stocked means you always have a quick meal option that they'll actually eat without complaining. Add some simple sauce or even just some butter and spices, and you have a meal. For adults, pasta is incredibly versatile. You can make it Italian style with tomato sauce, you can make it Desi style with our local spices, you can add vegetables to it, you can add meat to it. It's a blank canvas that works with any flavor profile. Storage is straightforward. Keep it in airtight containers in a dry place. The original packaging is usually fine too, but I prefer transferring it to containers to protect against any moisture or pests. Stock different shapes if you want variety. Spaghetti, penne, macaroni, fusilli. Different shapes work better with different sauces and dishes, and variety keeps meals interesting. Budget-wise, pasta is quite affordable, especially if you buy it in bulk or during sales. Calculate how often your family eats pasta and stock accordingly. One more thing, pasta is calorie-dense, which means it provides energy. During difficult times when you need affordable, filling food, pasta delivers. It's not the healthiest option if that's all you eat, but as part of a varied diet and as a stockpile item, it's excellent. Quick to prepare, long-lasting, affordable, and liked by almost everyone, pasta definitely earns its spot on this list. Item number 9, powdered milk or milk powder. This is extremely important, especially if you have children or elderly family members at home. Fresh milk is wonderful, but it only lasts a few days even when refrigerated. During emergencies or when fresh milk becomes expensive or unavailable, powdered milk is your backup solution. The shelf life of unopened powdered milk is impressive, anywhere from 2 years to 10 years depending on the type and how it's packaged. Once opened, use it within 3 to 6 months for best quality. Powdered milk can be reconstituted by mixing it with water and you get something very close to regular milk. Yes, there's a slight difference in taste, but it's perfectly fine for drinking, for adding to tea or coffee, and for cooking and baking. For children, milk is often an important part of their nutrition. For elderly people, it's a good source of calcium and protein. Having powdered milk ensures you always can provide this regardless of what's happening in the markets. Here's what many people don't realize. Powdered milk is incredibly useful for cooking. Many recipes that call for milk can be made with reconstituted powdered milk with identical results. Baking, making desserts, making white sauces, powdered milk works perfectly. Storage requirement is minimal. Just keep it in a moisture-free environment. Some people transfer it to airtight containers after opening, which is a good practice. Now, I know some of you are thinking that powdered milk is expensive. Initially, it might seem that way, but consider this. There's no waste. Fresh milk often goes bad before you can finish it. With powdered milk, you mix only what you need when you need it. Over time, this actually saves money. Different brands have different quality levels. Try a couple of brands to see which one your family prefers in terms of taste and how well it mixes. For families with babies or toddlers, check the specific recommendations for your child's age. There are specialized infant formulas, and powdered milk for adults isn't appropriate for very young babies. Bottom line, powdered milk provides insurance against milk shortages or price spikes. It's especially critical if you have vulnerable family members who depend on regular milk consumption. Don't overlook this one. Item number 10, honey. This one is really special and I'm excited to talk about it. Honey is literally the only food that never expires.
Archaeologists have found honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that's thousands of years old and still perfectly edible. That's how stable honey is. Beyond being a natural sweetener that's healthier than refined sugar, honey has actual medicinal properties. It's antibacterial, it helps with coughs and sore throats, it provides quick energy, and it has antioxidants. If your honey crystallizes over time, don't worry. That's completely normal and actually a sign that it's pure honey. Just place the jar in warm water and it'll become liquid again. Easy. Honey is excellent for your stockpile because it serves multiple purposes.
You can use it to sweeten your tea, you can use it as a spread, you can use it in cooking and baking, you can use it for home remedies when someone's sick, and you can even use it on wounds because of its antibacterial properties. Storage couldn't be easier. Just keep the lid tight and store it at room temperature. That's it. No refrigeration needed, no special conditions required. When buying honey, try to get pure, natural honey. There's a lot of adulterated honey in the market mixed with corn syrup or other sweeteners. Pure honey costs more, but it's worth it for the quality and health benefits. Different types of honey have different flavors. Some are mild, some are strong, some have floral notes. Experiment and find what your family likes. Think of honey as an investment. It costs a bit up front, but it never goes bad, it's healthier than sugar, and it has multiple uses. It's one of those perfect stockpile items that combines practicality with health benefits. Every home should have at least a few jars of good quality honey. During tough times, it can be a source of comfort, energy, and even medicine. Don't skip this one. Item number 11, tea and coffee. Now you might think this is a luxury item, but for most of us, it's more of a daily necessity. Let's be honest, for many of us, the day doesn't really start until we've had that first cup of chai or coffee. And during stressful times, these small comforts matter more than you might think. Tea leaves or tea bags typically last 1 to 2 years if stored properly. Coffee, depending on whether it's ground or whole beans, lasts about 6 months to a year. The flavor might weaken over time, but it's still perfectly drinkable. Storage is important here. Keep tea and coffee in airtight containers away from light and moisture. Tea especially can absorb odors from other foods, so keep it sealed properly. Here's why stocking tea and coffee makes sense, beyond just enjoyment. First, these items tend to increase in price regularly. Due to import costs and currency fluctuations, buying in bulk now can save you money later. Second, during difficult times, having these familiar comforts can provide psychological relief. A hot cup of tea or coffee can be incredibly soothing when you're stressed or worried. Third, if you have guests, which is part of our culture, you want to be able to offer them tea or coffee. Having a good stock ensures you're never embarrassed by not having these basic hospitality items. Buy what your family prefers. If you drink 3 cups of tea a day, calculate that for 6 months or a year and stock accordingly. Same with coffee. Consider buying in bulk from wholesale markets where prices are significantly lower. The savings can be substantial. Also, don't forget sugar and powdered milk to go with your tea and coffee, which we've already covered earlier. These items are small, easy to store, and make a big difference in daily comfort and normalcy. That's worth something. And now we come to item number 12, spices and masale. This is the most important item on this entire list, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. Imagine having all the rice, lentils, flour, and canned goods in the world, but no spices. Your food would be bland, boring, and honestly quite depressing to eat. Spices are what make food actually enjoyable. They're what make Pakistani cuisine what it is. They're non-negotiable. Let's talk about the essential spices you absolutely need to stock. Haldi or turmeric, red chili powder, dhania powder or coriander, jeera or cumin, black pepper, garam masala, and salt, which we already discussed. These are your basics that go into almost every dish you make. Here's what's interesting about spices. Whole spices last significantly longer than ground spices. Whole spices can stay good for 2 to 3 years easily. Ground spices start losing their potency after about 1 year. Although they are still safe to use, they just won't have the same punch. This is why I recommend buying some whole spices and grinding them as needed. Yes, it's a bit more work, but the flavor difference is remarkable and your stock lasts longer. Get a small spice grinder or even use a mortar and pestle. Storage is crucial for spices. They need to be kept in airtight glass jars, away from direct sunlight, away from heat, and away from moisture. Light, heat, and moisture are the enemies of spices because they break down the essential oils that give spices their flavor and aroma. Never store spices above your stove or near your cooking area, even though it seems convenient. The heat from cooking will degrade your spices faster. Here's a money-saving tip. Buy spices in larger quantities from wholesale spice markets. The per kg cost is dramatically lower than buying small packets from grocery stores. You can split the cost with friends or family members if the quantities are too large for one household.
Now let's talk about why stocking spices is so critical right now. Spice prices are heavily dependent on crops and international trade. Climate change is affecting spice crops. Political situations affect supply chains, and when there's a shortage of any particular spice, prices can skyrocket literally overnight. I've seen situations where certain spices became 3 or 4 times more expensive in just a few weeks due to crop failures or supply issues. Having a good stock protects you from these sudden price shocks. Beyond the basic spices I mentioned, consider stocking other commonly used ones based on what your family cooks. Things like bay leaves, cinnamon, cardamom, cloves, fenugreek seeds, mustard seeds, fennel seeds. Think about your regular recipes and stock accordingly. Here's something else. Spices have health benefits. Turmeric is anti-inflammatory. Ginger helps with digestion. Black pepper aids nutrient absorption. Cumin helps with immunity. These aren't just flavor enhancers, they're actually good for your health. During the pandemic, we saw how people started paying more attention to immunity-boosting foods and spices. This trend isn't going away. Having a good stock of healthy spices is both culinary wisdom and health wisdom. Let me give you a practical example. Let's say you have rice and lentils stocked for a year. That's great. But if you don't have spices, you'll get tired of eating the same bland food within a week. On the other hand, if you have a variety of spices, you can make dozens of different dishes with the same basic ingredients. That's the power of spices. So when you're planning your stockpile, don't just think about the main ingredients. Think about what makes those ingredients actually worth eating. And that's where spices come in. Stock smartly, store properly, and you'll thank yourself later when you can create delicious, varied meals even during difficult times. Now that we've gone through all 12 essential items, I want to share some crucial bonus tips that will help you manage your stockpile effectively. First, let's talk about the FIFO system, first in, first out. This is how stores manage inventory, and you should do the same at home. When you buy new stock, put it at the back and move the older stock to the front. This way, you're always using the oldest items first, and nothing sits unused until it expires. It's simple, but incredibly effective. Labeling is your friend. Whenever you transfer food to containers or whenever you buy something, write the date on it. I can't stress this enough. A few months from now, you won't remember when you bought that bag of flour or that bottle of oil. The label will tell you, and you can make decisions about what to use first. Temperature and humidity control are critical for storage. Ideally, your stockpile should be in a cool, dry place. If you have a basement or a storeroom, that's perfect. If not, find the coolest, driest part of your home. Avoid storing food near water heaters, in direct sunlight, or in damp areas. Pest control is something you need to think about. Insects and rodents can destroy your stockpile. Use airtight containers. This is your primary defense. For extra protection, you can use bay leaves and flour and rice, or you can use food-safe diatomaceous earth around your storage area. Keep the storage area clean and check regularly for any signs of pests. Now let's talk about budget management, because I know many of you are thinking, this all sounds great, but I can't afford to buy everything at once. And you're absolutely right. You shouldn't try to buy everything at once. Here's my recommendation. Make a plan. Start with 1 or 2 items each week or each month, depending on your budget. For example, this month you might buy extra rice and lentils. Next month you add flour and oil. The month after that, you focus on canned goods and pasta. Take advantage of sales and promotions. When stores have discounts on these items, that's your opportunity to stock up.
Sometimes you can save 30 or 40% just by buying during a sale instead of regular price. Consider bulk buying with friends or family. If a wholesale quantity is too much for one family, split it with relatives or neighbors. Everyone benefits from the lower per unit cost. Priority matters. If you have a limited budget, focus on the most essential items first: rice, lentils, flour, oil, salt, and spices. These give you the basics to survive and eat reasonably well. Then gradually add the other items as you can afford them. Let me talk about some common mistakes people make with stockpiling, because I want you to avoid these. Mistake number 1, buying things you don't actually eat. Don't stock items just because they have a long shelf life if your family doesn't like them. You'll end up wasting money and space. Stock what you actually use regularly. Mistake number 2, improper storage leading to...
I've covered proper storage for each item, but please take it seriously. There's no point in buying food if you're going to store it incorrectly and have it go bad. Mistake number 3, ignoring expiry dates. Even long-lasting foods eventually expire. Check your stockpile every few months and make sure you're using items before they go bad. Mistake number 4, not rotating your stock. This goes hand in hand with the FIFO system. If you don't rotate, you'll end up with expired food at the back while you keep buying new food for the front. Mistake number 5, panic buying. When crisis hits, people panicked and buy irrationally. They buy more than they need, they buy things they won't use, and they create artificial shortages. Smart stockpiling done gradually prevents the need for panic buying. One more important thing, talk to your family about your stockpile. Make sure everyone knows what you have, where it's stored, and how to use it properly. If there's an emergency and you're not there, someone else in your family should be able to access and use these resources. Create an inventory list. You don't need anything fancy. A simple notebook or a spreadsheet on your phone works perfectly. List what you have, how much you have, when you bought it, and when it expires. Update this list when you use items and when you add new ones. This gives you a clear picture of your supplies at any time. Finally, remember that stockpiling is not a one-time activity. It's an ongoing process. You use items, you replace them, you adjust based on your family's changing needs. It becomes part of your routine shopping, not something separate. So there you have it, 12 essential food items that you should seriously consider stockpiling and practical tips on how to do it right. Let me quickly recap what we covered. Rice, your staple carbohydrate that lasts for years. Lentils and pulses, affordable protein that keeps you healthy. Cooking oil, essential for every meal. Flour, the base for bread and so many dishes. Sugar, sweetness and preservation. Salt, never expires and absolutely necessary. Canned foods, ready-to-eat convenience for emergencies. Pasta, quick, filling, and versatile. Powdered milk, crucial for children and elderly. Honey, nature's eternal food with health benefits. Tea and coffee, small comforts that matter. And spices, what makes everything worth eating. The key takeaways here are simple. Start now because prices are only going to keep rising. Start small if your budget is limited, but start. Store properly because good storage makes all the difference between food that lasts and food that spoils. Rotate regularly so nothing goes to waste, and plan according to what your family actually eats. This isn't about fear or paranoia. This is about being smart, being prepared, and protecting your family's well-being. It's about not being caught off guard when prices spike or when there are shortages. It's about having peace of mind knowing that you can feed your family properly regardless of what's happening in the world. Think of it as insurance. You pay for health insurance hoping you never need it. You pay for car insurance hoping you never have an accident. This is food insurance, investing now so that you're protected later. And honestly, even if nothing bad happens, you still benefit. You save money by buying in bulk and during sales. You save time by having everything you need at home. You reduce stress by not having to rush to stores constantly. Before I wrap up, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, tell me, which of these items do you already have stocked? Which ones are you planning to buy? Do you have any additional tips for storing these items that I didn't mention?
Share your thoughts and experiences because we can all learn from each other. If you found this video helpful, and I really hope you did, please hit that like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm show this video to more people who might benefit from it. Share this video with your family and friends because everyone should know this information. If you're not subscribed to my channel yet, subscribe now and turn on notifications. I regularly create content about practical living, saving money, preparing for the future, and making smart decisions. You don't want to miss future videos. And listen, I might make a follow-up video going into even more detail about some of these items, or covering additional items that are worth considering. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. Remember, the goal isn't to create a bunker full of food. The goal is to be reasonably prepared, to protect yourself from price volatility, and to ensure your family's food security. Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can. In times of uncertainty, those who prepare aren't pessimists,
They're people who take responsibility for their family's well-being instead of just hoping everything will work out fine. You don't need to spend a fortune. You don't need a huge storage space. You just need to be intentional, consistent, and smart about it. Even a modest stockpile of 3 to 6 months can make a massive difference in your life. So take action today. Don't wait for the perfect time because there's never a perfect time. Don't wait until prices go even higher. Don't wait until there's a crisis and everyone's scrambling. Start now, start small, but start. Your future self will thank you, your family will thank you, and you'll sleep better at night knowing that you've taken this important step towards security and stability. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. I really appreciate your time and attention. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay prepared, stay smart, and stay safe.